Meet Jeff Barnes, a former U.S. Navy nuclear power plant operator, submariner, and scuba diver, global innovation and technology director, two-time best-selling author, business advisor, consultant, and international speaker. Jeff Barnes is the go-to man for helping transform and evolve businesses. From startups to global conglomerates, no one can structure, systemize, and optimize business growth faster or better. From running a nuclear power plant to building out advanced systems for business growth, Mr. Barnes has the technical expertise necessary to expand businesses exponentially. He has worked with some of the biggest brands around the world and even shared the stage with people like John Mackey, the founder of Whole Foods, Steve Forbes, the chairman of Forbes Media, Jeffrey Hazlett of C-Suite Network, Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, Robert Kiyosaki, former presidential candidates, and many more. After receiving an honorable discharge from the Navy, earning the highly coveted Battle E and Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal for his exemplary service, he worked with some of the largest businesses in the world and spearheaded global technology initiatives spanning several industries, resulting in hundreds of millions in investment capital and corporate savings. As an innovative leader and patriot, Mr. Barnes' true calling is driving results for business owners and helping them achieve their ultimate goal of building a legacy and creating freedom in their lives. As the chairman of the nation's longest established online investment club, Angel Investors Network, he's dedicated to helping his members build a legacy and achieve lasting financial freedom. He's the founder of Digital Evolution Marketing Group, and as a digital marketing expert, has had the opportunity to work with people like Percy Master P. Miller, Russell Brunson, Garrett J. White, and dozens of other celebrity entrepreneurs and business leaders. He's the author of 2 international best-selling books and is a sought-after speaker, trainer, and consultant on business growth, marketing automation, and digital transformation. His no-nonsense approach to business growth and military-style discipline has made him a highly coveted marketing, advertising, and management consultant for startups and large corporations alike. With over $1 billion raised by his clients since 2015, over $100 million in sales and licensing deals, managing multi-million-dollar advertising budgets, and more than 20 individual capital raises under his belt, Mr. Barnes is the go-to person for business growth and scaling. Jeff is not only an expert in business growth, but he's also a dedicated husband and father and enjoys giving back to his community. As a military veteran, he supports and mentors military veteran business leaders. From raising capital, implementing digital transformation initiatives, and executing hyper-growth marketing strategies, Mr. Barnes is the right person to drive your business growth.
Boom. All right, everybody, meet Jeff Barnes. Hey, Jeff, I got to tell you, I feel so blessed to hang around guys like you. It's incredible, right? But I got one suggestion for your sizzle reel. You know, it says where you've spoke on stages with guys like Steve Forbes and
I
Greg
knew it was
and all
coming.
these
I
different.
know it's coming.
You have to say I shared the stage with Greg Ryder. I mean, that's the
I
headline right
know. I
there. You're
know.
doing it again
How
today.
could I miss that one? How could I miss that one?
All right.
Yep,
Well,
absolutely. Well,
everybody, Jeff is the CEO of Angel Investors Network, and I'm going to let him take over. I invited everybody here because I'm such a big proponent of financial wealth and financial wealth strategies. And Jeff's wrote an amazing book, and that's what he does every day of his life is helps entrepreneurs and the capital. And he's got a great guest. So go ahead, take it away, Jeff.
Greg, thanks so much for having me here today. I really appreciate it. And for all you guys who are watching this, whether you're in the studio right now with us or you're watching this on Facebook or any other social channel, we have a great webinar for you today. And as you guys may or may not know, I wrote a book about self-directed investing back in 2015. I can't believe it's already been 10 years since I wrote this book. And the reason I wrote the book was because at the time, I was working on raising capital for real estate deals and found out that there's a lot of money in people's retirement plans that they had lost during the financial crisis. So I actually wrote that book right there, The Ultimate Guide to Self-Directed Investing and Retirement Planning, which if you are on this webinar, we have a special treat for you. We're going to go ahead and get you a copy of that, a PDF copy that we're going to send out after the webinar is over. But because of writing that book and everything that I've done when it comes to raising capital, it's really focused on helping people build wealth in their retirement plans and doing it in a tax-free way. And so we have gone out there and I've helped a lot of people set up retirement plans and invest those retirement plans. I've even done it myself, of course, into different businesses, including Greg's business, LaunchCart. And that's why we have LaunchGuard on here today. And we're going to be bringing on a special guest today with a company that helps people with setting up these retirement plans in a really streamlined and effective and efficient manner to help you with building wealth long term in a tax-free or at least a tax-deferred environment. Now, I got to tell you, with everything that's going on in the world today, especially with our new administration, who knows if taxes are going to go up or go down in the future? But the goal is to always try and grow your wealth at least tax-deferred, if not tax-free. And there's a lot of great opportunities out there. So we're going to be talking with a gentleman by the name of Matt Moore from Camaplan. And Camaplan is one of those leading self-directed retirement plan organizations out there. And they're going to be talking about what it looks like when you start investing in opportunities like we do at Angel Investors Network using these tax-free or tax-deferred strategies. So I can't see the back room right now. I don't know if Matt is here or not, but I'm really looking forward to bringing Matt on the call. So Matt, how are you today? Good to see you.
I'm doing pretty well. Sorry for the little technical difficulties, but I wanted to keep you in a little bit of suspense. You know, it was such an exciting scissor reel. I figured I'd add to a little bit of the excitement. So very happy to be here, and I appreciate that generous introduction.
Absolutely, Matt. Well, I'm going to let you go ahead and take it away and give people all the knowledge and wisdom about how they can invest in all sorts of opportunities using your guys' plans.
Awesome. I'm setting up the deck right now. If you give me 1 second, and I should have this all set up.
So Jeff, you don't have you're not logged in as a admin?
Nope, I'm not logged in as an admin. I made sure I didn't log in as you, so I didn't end up messing things up.
Okay. And then Matt, do you have access to share your screen or do the present?
I believe I do. I'm going to share it right now, and I'm going to.
Yeah, we might need to get you in a different way, but if you can share your screen, you should be
I
good.
should be able to share a screen, but you know, while Matt's bringing that up, I'm going to let people know a little something. You know, when I first wrote my book, The Ultimate Guide to Self-Directed Investing and Retirement Planning, there he is. There were about $13 trillion in retirement plan assets, and that had just taken roughly a 30% nosedive during the financial crisis. And so that's why, you know, this idea of self-directed investing, I think, is so pertinent, so important. I was a financial planner for a while, and all I was a glorified salesperson, meaning I had to learn all about mutual funds and life insurance and mortgages, but all I was doing was selling the company's products. There was very little I could do when it came to giving advice for anybody to invest in anything other than those basic mutual funds, which is why I departed from that very, very quickly. And so with what you're going to learn here today with Matt and Camaplan, it's going to be very pertinent. If you are one of those people that says, hey, I want to have control of my future and control of my finances, this is a really important webinar for you to pay attention to. So with that, Matt, it looks like we got your presentation up. Go ahead and take it away.
I appreciate that. And that is a great tee up for what we're going to talk about today. I think I'm going to paraphrase Robert Kiyosaki, especially because he was mentioned earlier in the intro, but he talks about wealth advisors, you know, advising clients on things that they themselves as the advisors aren't necessarily investing in. So I think that's a great way to tee up, like I said, talking about self-direction and the power of using self-directed IRAs. So before we get started, I just want to mention that Camaplan does not provide any investment advice or endorsements. All the information and materials in this presentation are just for educational purposes only. And at the end of the day, we encourage you to do your own due diligence by yourself, as well as with your team, to make sure that you're making all of the best investment decisions. So just a little bit about Camaplan. We celebrated our 20th birthday in August of last year now. The company was started in 2004 by a brother and sister combo, and they're still very involved with the business. One of the brother, Carl Fisher, he actually started in the self-direction space since 1995. And so he's very, very knowledgeable about this area. They both hold portfolios themselves in a number of different investments. And a result of that is they deal with a lot of financial professionals, and they know what they like and they know what they don't like. And so they make sure that we're a very customer service oriented company. And so as a result, we have nearly 10,000 clients across the country, and we really adhere to a commitment of excellent customer service. Now, just starting off with a baseline knowledge, we want to understand what a self-directed IRA or 401k is. Now, there's no legal distinction about what a self-directed IRA is in terms of the mechanics of an IRA in tax deferment or any kind of tax sheltering that happens. So whether you're having kind of a standard IRA through Fidelity or someone like that, or you're using a self-directed IRA with a custodian like Camaplan, self-directed is an adjective. It's not any kind of legal term. And the other thing about a self-directed IRA is a true self-directed IRA allows you to invest in a variety of assets. And we'll go into those a little bit later, but I just make this distinction because if I, for example, I have a Roth IRA with Chase. If I go onto my app right now, it says that it's a self-directed IRA. And you know what? They will let me self-direct into any of the options that the small list that they've created for me. A true self-directed IRA lets you invest into a whole any kind of alternative investment that is right for you. So just want to make that distinction there.
Hey, and Matt, if you don't mind, I'm gonna be answering, and Kylie's here. We're gonna be answering questions. If you guys have a question as we're going, put them in the chat box, and also let me know real quick if you've ever heard of self-directed IRA before. Have you ever heard of self-directed IRA? Say, yep, yes, I have. Or do you have an IRA account? Because this is what the wealthy people do. So anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I want to kind of get the group a little engaged and let you guys know I'm here answering questions live, and then I'll queue them up for the end, and then ask Matt if we need to. Okay.
Awesome. I no apology necessary. I appreciate it. So just going back to what I was saying earlier, this is a quote from one of our clients. The key benefit of investing in a self-directed IRA is investing in what you know and understanding can control versus hope is your strategy. And this is precisely to what Jeff was talking about earlier. This client was a real estate broker and had gained a lot of knowledge in real estate. So he was tired of the lottery that is the stock market and decided to start investing into real estate. Now, there are two general types of plans with IRAs in general. So there's the tax deferred and the tax free. The most common ones from either group are the traditional IRA or the Roth IRA. Those are the most common accounts that we open on a daily basis at Camaplan. The distinction here is that what's going to happen in terms of taxes when you decided to take a distribution on those accounts. So we like to say that the tax free is if you want to tax the seed. So if you're going to pay taxes on the money that goes into that, but then you're going to avoid taxes on the returns when they happen in the tax-free accounts. So those are your Roth IRAs, health savings account, excuse me, things like that. The tax deferred, to go with the metaphor, we tax the crop. So your money will be tax deferred when it goes into the account, but you'll still be able to increase your returns by deferring those taxes, but you will have to pay some taxes when you take a distribution when you're over 59 and a half. So those would be traditional IRAs, SEP IRAs, simple IRAs. Both the SEP and simple are really great tools for small business owners and folks who are looking for some tax strategy in their business ventures. Now, when you look at kind of this 40-year plan, we see the power of a tax deferred account and a tax free account. So versus a W-2 income. So the blue bar is just regular W-2 income. The light green bar would be a tax deferred account, and then the green bar would be like the Roth IRA free. So remember the metaphor, taxing the harvest versus taxing the seed. You can see as you move along the IRA accounts, they really quickly outperform the W-2 income. And what we're seeing is a combination of things. There's certainly the tax savings, but we're also seeing that money being reinvested, and so that interest is compounding. So at the end of this 40-year example, the traditional IRA, the tax deferred account, the light green bar, it also earned up to that's about $2.2 million. but because it's tax deferred, there was taxes that were assessed when the distribution happened. So we're pretty partial to the Roth IRAs around here, but still, depending on what tax strategy makes the most sense, a tax deferred account might be best for you. Now, the question that we sometimes answer is, you say, okay, Matt, I don't have 40 years to work with. Like, how can I see the advantages in a shorter term? So we wanted to use Launchcart as an example. And before I start kind of going into a little bit of this, I want to turn it over to Greg and see if you had anything to add here.
Well, you see how I paid him to like seed my investment opportunity during this presentation, everybody. No, really, this is literally for educational purposes only. And there's most of you don't know this, but we're in the process of buying a sweepstakes brand, and we're doing a raise of $6 million. And we're going to pay 12% return. It's a 4-year promissory note. We're going to pay you 12% on your money. And then we're going to give you a warrant kicker in Launchcart that really gives you massive upside. So he put together some numbers here just to kind of illustrate how if you did this from your 401k or from your self-directed versus not, the differences. So you can just take it from there. But literally, this is just like you. This is a educational purposes only.
Yeah, educational. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. No money shared. So, yeah, this is these are some projections that I put in, but it's based upon the investment offering that does exist. So, I like to use a real example to see what's possible when you're using a self-directed IRA. So, the whole investment scenario, Greg summarized already, but then if you look towards the bottom half of the screen, you see the side-by-side comparison of what that investment return is going to look like when you're using a tax-free Roth IRA versus using personal funds. So you're avoiding income tax, you're avoiding capital gains tax, and that you're seeing very, very significant savings, and it's just over a 7-year term. And with specifically with the income tax on that preferred return, that's money that you're able to save and put back to work into something else. So very, very powerful tool here to keep more money to you as opposed to handing it over. Now, the Launchcart offering is just one of the kinds of things that you could take advantage of in self-directed IRA. There's lots of different kinds of investments. This is a list of common ones that we see. It's by no means exhaustive. There's other things we've seen. Clients buy crops, own farm equipment, lots of different things. So there's a lot of things you can do, but I just kind of want to touch on one of the more common ones. So real estate, a majority of CamaPlan's clients are participating in real estate transactions of some sort. Often they're purchasing multifamily or single family homes. We see a lot of participation, or excuse me, lending from self-directed IRAs. So this looks like, kind of secured loans on real estate assets, things like that. And then also a lot of participation in private placements. So if you think about like the Launchcart example, or investing into a real estate fund, something like that, this is probably the second most popular investment offering we have after real estate. And then the one that's grown the most for CamaPlan, at least in probably the past 5 or 6 years, has been precious metals. This list is pretty selective in what you can participate in, but it's still very, 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 very popular with our clients who are trying to hedge against inflation. There are some prohibited investments. It's, we can't invest in everything, but here they are. It's pretty limited, but the kind of rule of thumb that we work with is anything that has like a really fluid valuation. So what we like to say is, if Greg went and decided to to paint a brushstroke on a canvas, he'd say, this is worth $5 million. And Jeff might say, it's not worth 5 cents. And because there's that kind of difference in perspective on some of these things, works of art don't work. Common question we get are baseball cards. You can't buy baseball cards. So there are some things that you aren't able to purchase, but then there are other ways that you can participate in kind of things that are close by proxy. So, for example, if there's a fund that is dealing with works of art, the way that the fund is structured, you might be able to participate in. So it's always worth it to have a conversation, see if you can do it, and how you can make it work. There are some also prohibited transactions by the IRS, and this goes not just for self-directed IRAs. This is for any IRA. So it's really all about no self-dealing, no personal use. So you or any disqualified persons can't benefit from or be the beneficiary, or that you can't benefit to other folks or to disqualified folks or yourself, and your IRA can't benefit from yourself or from disqualified folks. So the most common example of this is someone wants to buy a piece of, they want to buy a property in Orlando, and they're going to use it. They're going to rent it out. They're going to have people come and stay in there, but then they decide that they want to go and spend a week in Orlando because they want to take the kids to Disney World. You can't do that if it's owned by your IRA. So just something to keep in mind. This also applies, like I said, it applies to standard IRAs as well. So that's why if you go and you are investing in a company or something, you're going to be asked if you know the person, if you're related to the person, or have if they're disqualified, the person who runs the company. So I'll talk about that in the next slide, but it doesn't come up a lot, but it's kind of part of the questioning that you'll go through with Camaplan to make sure that the transaction is okay. So disqualified persons, it's anyone who's of lineal ascent or descent. So your parents and grandparents, children and their grandchildren, they're disqualified. Your spouse would be disqualified. But then any aunts or uncles, your siblings, your cousins, they're not disqualified. So sometimes people think all family is off, but it's not true. But it's the lineal ascent and descent, which is disqualified. So how does our process work? It's pretty simple, we think. Basically, you're going to open and fund your account. So what that usually looks like is someone might have an old 401k or something with an employer they're not with anymore. They want to participate in a deal through a self-directed IRA. They can't find out their existing custodian can't hold it. So they say, okay, Camaplan, I want to use you as my custodian. So they open the account with us, takes about 15 minutes. The money gets rolled over, and then we fund your account. You complete a form to make to direct the purchase. So it's a purchase directive form. Takes about us 2 days to complete that. So that's the make your investment step. And then ultimately the investment's funded. So we send money via ACH or wire, depending on your choice, and your money is invested and starts working. Often we're asked, what does Camaplan do? One thing that we don't do is we don't advise you. So what that looks like is when you want investment advice, we're not the ones who are going to provide it to you. We are Switzerland, I like to say. But if you have an advisor or a tax attorney who has questions and they want to know about the nature of us holding the asset, we're more than happy to take that call. We pride ourselves, like I said, on client service. We're very, very accessible. So we can't give you any investment advice, but we're happy to provide as much information as we can from the perspective of the account itself and what the implications of holding an asset are to anyone on your investment team, and certainly to yourself. And we are a third party. We're a required third party by the IRS to hold your assets. So This applies to any IRA. So we make sure that the asset's held, of course, and we file all the necessary tax documents when it's tax time. And then to what I sort of said earlier, we just want to be part of your team of professionals. So we want to be a resource for you and for any of your advisors or tax attorneys when you're choosing to use self-direction as a part of your investment strategy. And that is the presentation for me. That's it in a nutshell.
All right, it's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
And I think what's interesting is everybody write down Matt's name or do a screen grab real quick, write down Camoplan, Matt Moore. Obviously, they're in the business. There's nothing here to sell. We're not selling anything today, which everyone on here is like, what? You're not going to sell anything, Greg? Right. So, but take this information down. What we're doing is we're promoting Camoplan, and we believe that everybody should have a self-directed IRA, and you should leverage these strategies to, whether you're investing in Launchcard or you're investing in a real estate project or whether you're investing in something else. So take that screen grab, and then we'll go ahead and put that in the chat box as well. But we want to help spread the word and let people know. And we've been setting up our Jeff and I. We've been doing this for investors. I've been doing it for 30 years. Like I like this isn't new, right? This has been around for a long time. But it's amazing how many people don't know about it, never heard about it. So as we kind of go into 2025 and 2026, we're going to continue to share information that we think is going to be financially beneficial for you and your family. And I know Jeff has a lot to talk about this because he wrote a book on it, and Jeff runs Angel Investors Network. So go ahead, type your questions in the box, and I'll queue up the questions as we go. So we're a little bit delayed with the live stream, you guys. So you guys can talk. I'll find a question.
Well, and
then
some of
I'll
these
queue it up.
questions are coming in. I love Robbie. So why does everybody make it sound so complicated? It's because the people who, in my experience, Matt may have a different approach to this, but if the person who is telling you about the self-directed retirement plan is someone who's trying to get you to buy their stuff or invest in their thing, or they have a deal and they want you to be a part of it, then just like Matt talked about, there's this thing called self-dealing. And in order to get around self-dealing, people have come up with all sorts of creative ways to do this. But in the end, the IRS and any other three-letter agency that is still in existence in the government has unlimited funding practically. Now, I don't know, Elon Musk may change that. But the fact is that, one of the things I learned early on from a mentor is you never go up against an organization that can actually, pay for as many lawyers as they possibly want, right? It's a losing battle. Even if you win broke doing it. So we always suggest you do things the right way. And the reason people will make it sound complicated is like, well, if you're doing it the wrong way, you have to do all these really complex things to try and hide the fact that you're doing something illegal. Don't do that. It is really simple. There are rules around it. Until the IRS is gone and out of existence, they still have a say in how we do things, right? So the fact is that you may have to work with a financial planner or a CPA that says, here's how much you can put into a self-directed retirement plan this year. Here's what your catch-up contributions might be. Here's your tax implications, because it does change. And again, Matt said it, and I'll say it too. We're not advisors, but depending on how much money you make, it can actually affect how much you're allowed to put in certain cases. So just be aware that there are rules around it, but setting it up is really, really simple. In fact, Matt, I'd imagine you guys could probably get one set up and running within a day. Not necessarily funded yet, but the bone's pretty much ready to go pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, it takes us 15 minutes to get the account totally set up and going. So it's really, really short. But just a little bit more to add on to that answer, which is fantastic. So yes, I think the way that people are learning about self-directed IRAs, there might be sort of a issue with the origin of the knowledge. And so we said it earlier, I don't want to pick on the advisors, but all advisors, CPAs, let's just say they don't know completely about self-directed IRAs, or they might have something else that they want to sell. So they are keeping you in the lane that they're the most comfortable. And so the way to get around dealing with those hesitations from your financial team is to bring in a custodian into the conversation like Camaplan, so that we can equip your team, equip you with the knowledge that you need to know about how this works. The other thing that I think might make people feel like it's hard to do is that's what you said, Jeff, on those prohibited transactions and self-dealing slides. I think there's just the hair starts to stand up on the back of people's necks, like, oh, I don't want to do anything wrong. But it's a very, very small list of things you can't do. It's a much greater list of things that you can do. It just you should probably default towards I think I can do this, and I want to learn more if I can, and start from there, as opposed to thinking that something's not possible. So it's why the perspective is that it's so hard. I think it's just we all need to do a better job of sharing the knowledge and spreading the word.
Well,
That's what you're
and you
paying me
said it right
for.
there. You said it right there, Matt. And this is why I got out of the financial planning world in the first place, was that there's an incentive in the financial world, right? And I've been involved in the financial plan or the financial services world for over 20 years now. So I can speak to this, very closely, which is that there's an incentive to keep your money as my client or my customer with me, because that's how I make money. Now, in some places, they make money whether you make money or not, and we don't like those. But the best ones will make money when you make money, which is also a good thing. However, what Matt and I promote as well is that you should be in charge of that, right? You should be allowed to make your own decisions. And as a result, some people don't like that, right? Because that means you're taking your money away. Like Angela's asking a question about her TIAA, TIA 401k. And I'll say this, I don't know, Matt, if you guys help with self-directed or solo 401ks, but there are ways to take a 401k over. But generally speaking, it's not when you still work with a company, because they don't allow you to roll everything out of a plan while you still work there, for a lot of reasons. But there are limitations there. I will just put it that way.
Yeah, there are limitations, and the example that I gave in the sort of the 3-step process about how about making an investment, I said that often it's an old 401k from an employer you're no longer working with.
Yeah.
And that is speaking to the limitations that you just mentioned. So we see um, funding coming into accounts from that. So an old 401k where you're no longer with the employer. In some cases, it's not very common, but in some cases, your employer, the 401k plan you have with your employer, might have like a carve out where they allow you to self-direct within it. And so in that case, you can go through effectively the same process. You find a self-directed IRA custodian, and you can invest your 401k funds into alternatives. So those are the ways that we see it. But sometimes there are other things like inherited IRAs, things like that create other scenarios. So yeah, but the most common one is the old employer. Exactly like you said.
Yeah. Yep.
And to
And
that,
another question.
I would also add the other question we get is, hey, can I invest with can I take money out of my pension or something like that? And those are pretty much locked up. There's nothing we can do often with those. But if you hear something, if you think, hey, there might be an opportunity here, let us know and we'll look into it. We'll talk with the plan administrator ourselves if we have to.
Okay, so here's a question by Roxana. Does this apply to U.S. citizens only? I'm based in the United Kingdom. Well, thank you for joining us. That's amazing. Can I participate in something like this?
So the answer is that it's not for U.S. citizens only, but you have to be eligible to open and contribute to an IRA. So that can also include that is obviously citizens, but it can also be permanent residents, so like green card holders. And there are certain situations where non-citizens with U.S. taxable income can also hold IRAs. This is not an area that I have a lot of knowledge on, but there are some exceptions to just being a citizen. So actually, Jeff or Greg, if you know this answer, I'd love to hear if you can fill in the gaps.
My answer would have
Unfortunately,
been that,
go
yeah,
ahead,
I would
Greg.
have said no. It's not really for people in the U.S. because it's like really going back to retirement and a tax strategy. But I don't know.
Yep. It's by and large, the short answer is this is mainly for U.S. citizens. That's the
Right.
short answer.
Eddie, what's going on, Eddie? Good to see you, buddy. Can an IRA transfer all be processed by Camaplan over the phone, or am I required to sign documents in person with the current holding bank?
Great question, Eddie. So 95% of documents that we sign are done through our electronic signature process. So you don't have to go in person. You should be able to do it um, all through email. Or through electronically, remotely is what I meant. So you shouldn't have to go in person. Now, if your existing custodian, you use the bank as the example, if your existing custodian for some reason had a requirement where you had to be in person, that would be kind of their prerogative. But uh, the custodians that we work with today, when we're executing these transfers, it's all done digitally. So you shouldn't probably do not need to go do anything in person.
Okay, cool. And then Robbie's asking a great question. Thank you, Robbie. Will there be a replay? So many people need to hear this, the simplicity of it. So we are streaming this to Angel Investors Network live YouTube channel. I just put a link in the chat to that channel. And because we're live streaming there, as soon as we hang up, it will be there live, and there's no reason to take it down. So people email me, I'll just redirect them over there. But it's going to be at Angel Investors Network YouTube channel under the live tab, and it will be housed there for eternity. And we're going to continue to recommend and promote Camel because we like what they're doing. I like Matt. Matt's got a new role over there, and we're going to be working together with him. And we're going to be hosting some events here in San Diego at our new offices, Studio Money, and we're hoping to get Matt come out to speak live and meet some of our people when we do events and things of that nature. So, all right, last call for questions. I don't see any other questions I haven't answered. Did I miss any?
Could I ask you and Jeff a question, just out of
Sure.
curiosity? Do either of you remember the first transaction you made through your self-directed IRA or self-directed account?
I do. Yeah, I do. And it was to actually start an LLC. So talking about the whole
Oh, cool.
self-dealing thing and prohibited transactions, you know, went ahead and did this whole thing to say, hey, I'm going to start up a company. And because I had like $10,000 in an IRA that I'd done a long time ago, I'm going to start up an LLC and I'm going to use that to go and start running a business. And I found out after I got the IRA set up and the money transferred over that, hey, Jeff, you can't do that. That's not allowed because you want to take the money and then pay yourself, right? I said, yeah, of course I do. So no, you can't do that. So I learned the hard way. So I will never forget that because like, oh, great, I spent all this money and time doing this thing and now I can't use it for what I wanted to. But the next thing that we did is we said, okay, well, how about I invest in somebody else's corporation, and I'm not going to be involved in that corporation, but I can earn dividends from it. And so I ended up doing that. But I actually ended up investing in LaunchCart through my self-directed 401k. So I was the first investor in LaunchCart back in 2019 after I left my former job. Which allowed me to then self-direct my 401k money and put money into LaunchCart. So Greg and I are friends, regardless until LaunchCart becomes this massive behemoth, multi-billion-dollar company, and I'll be even closer friend with him after that.
Yeah, we'll be hanging out at our yachts as opposed to our
Yep.
bedrooms. I'm in my bedroom. I'm in a bedroom in my house right now because I didn't get to the office.
Yeah.
Okay, look, everybody, write this down. Matt Moore, there's his email, engage@camaplan.com. There's his phone number. There's the website. Mark it down, type it up, share it with your friends, give them a call, email them, whatever you need to do. And that's the best way just to communicate with you. Isn't that correct, Matt?
Yeah, that's the best way. The email address specifically is going to go to our client team, so I'll see it or someone else will see it. We know about LaunchCart, we know about Angel Investors Network, so we're happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, well, with that being said, and the lack of questions out there, I think it's time to wrap it up. Last statement from you, Matt. Anything? Last thing you want to say?
Just ditto on most of what was said. Self-direction is a powerful tool. And if you are sitting on this stream and you say, I know everything about this, then please do your friends and family and neighbor and share this, because it's a powerful tool that not enough people know about, and we need everyone's help to spread the word.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Matt. Jeff?
I got nothing else to add, Matt. You did a great job. Again, if you guys are serious about taking control of your financial future, this is definitely one of those steps that you need to have in your arsenal and take advantage of it right away, even if you don't think you're ready for it.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And I always end by saying, do what I do. Wake up every day with an attitude of gratitude. Tell somebody you love them, and I promise you'll have a better day. We're signing off, everybody.